I'm Leslie Muller, founder and CTO of DynamicOps. What's very interesting about cloud computing is, a lot of people think it's about technology. They think it's, excuse the pun, it's very fluffy, right? Everybody has their own opinion of what it is and what it isn't. It's really about the people. In our daily lives, we walk around, we go shopping, we buy things that we want. You walk into the grocery store, there's a million things, different cereals, you want to pick everything. You have choice. We spend money, we consume services, but we pay for what we need, and we only want to pay for what we need. Yet we want the best quality at the lowest price. And here's the other thing. We want it now, right? We don't want to wait. We want it now. If you buy a book online, what do? We often actually say, oh, I'll pay a premium to have it delivered tomorrow. If you think about it, when you walk into a big company, they say, here's only one type of computer you can have. There's only one type of software you're allowed to use. You'll get it when you get it. There's no getting it tomorrow. The prices are all completely artificial. Nobody knows what it really costs to have a desktop or a server, etc. It's completely disconnected. There we are, and we suddenly turn into a whole culture that's centrally managed, and we'll actually turn into absolute communists. I love the story of when the wall came down and some of these countries collapsed. There were factories, like a tractor factory was found somewhere in Russia that had produced millions and millions of tractors and was standing in the field. But nobody had actually given these tractors to the farmers who badly needed them. And what was more amazing is that actually the last tranche of tractors they'd built didn't work. What happened is the supplier of that guy didn't deliver the spare parts. But they weren't being measured on whether the tractors work or the quality. They were simply being measured on how many of these can they produce. In large companies, IT is managed by big committees. Supply and demand is not connected at all. It reminds me of support people. How many tickets can you do in a single day? I don't care about the quality. We suffer this today. We ring up a call center for an airline or something. They don't care. They just want to do it as quickly as possible and move on. These are the things we rage against. These are the things we want to change. This is the system, the culture we want to break. The number one thing that brought down communism was a pair of jeans, right? It was the fact that people wanted to wear jeans. They saw Western kids, they saw popular culture from across the West saying, hey, look at those guys, there was rock music, jeans. And jeans became actually an interesting symbol of individualism, about freedom, about something different, right? And that actually really drove that. And there was a whole black market economy around that. As a matter of fact, if I remember, you could go to jail in the Soviet Union for selling a pair of jeans or buying a pair of jeans. It was just insane. But what happened was very interesting. The government said, no, jeans are not symbols of freedom. It's symbols of oppression and imperialism and all the bad things that the West was supposed to be. And they made movies about it and TV programs and everything. One thing they got wrong, though, people in the Soviet Union saw homeless people in these videos in a pair of jeans. And they said, hold on, here's a guy who has no money, who's living in the streets, wearing a pair of jeans. Even he can afford a pair of jeans. And yet the mighty Soviet Empire can't produce a pair of jeans. This is insane. Something's wrong. And if you think about it, the parallels exist in IT. What's happening is people are saying, hold on, I can go to Amazon, I can go to Microsoft, I can go to all these other people, I can click one button and I can get a computer, a virtual machine in 30 seconds. Yet our mighty IT organization cannot do this for me. It have to wait weeks and weeks to get something done. Something's wrong. I'm not going to live with this anymore. At the same time, they don't want to just use the corporate laptop anymore. They want to use Macs, they want to use iPads, they want to do these things. They want to use Skype, they want to phone their friends, they want to do things when they're on the road. And yet IT has always said, no, you can't have any of these things. Here's the thing. The services are available outside. They're starting to smuggle those services across the border. They're starting to bring those devices in. They're using their own credit cards to buy services from the Amazons of the world. And the IT community has to change. They have to adapt to this. If you think about what happened, how the Soviet Union fell down and all these things, it was people saying no more. So these cultural changes is really what's driving cloud and the new evolution of computing. So technologists can say it's all about technology, but it's not. It's about popular culture being imprinted into that business and saying, we want what we get outside. We no longer want to have this cultural change when we cross the front door in the morning. This is not right anymore. One of the principles of market economies, of course, is liquidity. You need competition. We all know what happened with the banking system recently and what happened when some of the liquidity was taken out of the system. Everything grinds to a halt. But the reality is competition is good. And therefore, you want that kind of liquid environment where you can go to the best service provider. You can go to the guy who's going to give it to you cheaper, or to somebody who can give it to you at higher quality. We do this every day. We like swapping out things. If we're not happy with one provider, or they're giving us a poor service, we go somewhere else. This is why competition is good, and we don't like monopolies. So this is exactly what IT has to understand. Cloud computing enables that. Therefore, you have to have platforms that provide you a way of allowing to buy some of your services externally, some of your services internally, and to swap things in and out. So you really need this layer of abstraction between the users and the consumers of these services and what's really going underneath. What does it take to make it work, right? What does it take to make cloud computing work? The reality is you have to embrace individualism. So what do I mean by individualism? You have to come and allow that user to self-service, right? We get choices, we make those choices, suited to our needs, we get told what it costs, and we push the button and it has to happen. But here's the thing. You can't ask your users the intimate details of how things work behind the scenes. When you order a package or you ask for FedEx or UPS to deliver a package for you, they don't ask you, well, what's the pilot's name or which plane should I use? They just say, sure, well, how big is the package and when do you want it there and how are you willing to pay X? The same with the ATM. It doesn't say, what should I do behind the scenes, what exchange rate? All of that's taken care of. So automation is absolutely key. You have to automate all of your processes. You have to take the human out of the loop. But at the same time, you really have to make it so simple for the user to say, this is what I want, and have them pay for it. So in your IT environment, in your cloud environment you're building, that's exactly what you have to do. And if you don't do that, you are going to fail. So I guess in conclusion, learn from history. Look at what happened to these incredibly big, powerful empires. What you have to do on the cloud is understand you don't have users, you have consumers. And they demand this new way of doing things. They want to bring their lives in the building. They want those market economies. They love capitalism. Embrace it and make sure your processes adapt to enable those things, enable the individualism.